Federal Home Loan Mortgage Company, officially nicknamed Freddie Mac, was founded 46 years ago in Virginia as what the US government call a GSE, a government-sponsored enterprise. GSEs are a type of quasi-governmental firm that, despite being privately owned, benefit from an implicit federal guarantee to enhance their ability to borrow money, something which regular corporations can't benefit from. As GSEs like Freddie Mac are created to improve the efficiency of capital markets, the argument is that without them, the critical area of necessary debt financing would be underserved or served inefficiently. In 1970, the Federal Home Loan Banks funded Freddie Mac with a $100 million grant, which was used to begin Freddie Mac's principal activity, the purchasing and selling of mortgage loans and mortgage-related securities for investment. Currently, Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae have a duopoly over the nation's secondary mortgage market, controlling roughly 90% and illustrating the lack of competition in this sector.
In June 2003, it was discovered that Freddie Mac had been involved in one of the biggest accounting scandals of all time. They misstated their earnings between 2000 to 2002 by approximately $5 billion. It's believed that the reason for this was to comply with Wall Street's objective of steady earnings growth, making future results look more attractive to investors. There was pressure on Freddie Mac from the US government and the general public to uphold the company's reputation as Steady Freddie, a title the company earned as a result of their previous earnings showing a steady growth. However, as earnings became more volatile due to greater risk being taken on, Freddie Mac chose to take other measures to protect their name.
There were three key personnel in 2003 worth mentioning. Leland Brenzel, who was the CEO of Freddie Mac between 1987 and 2003. Vaughn Clark, who was Chief Financial Officer and Executive Vice President from 2000 to 2003. And finally, David Glenn, Chief Operating Officer and President between 1990 and 2003. He was responsible for the day-to-day running of the firm and overseeing the work of top-level managers, holding responsibility for withholding information about how Freddie Mac used trades to understate earnings.
Internal controls are a fundamental reason for the failure of Freddie Mac. Freddie Mac relies on government funding in a government-sponsored enterprise. Being a GSE, Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae in conjunction hold strong lobbying powers against the regulator OFHEO. This means when attempts were made to strengthen the company's internal controls, they are blocked by management in order to benefit management and shareholders themselves. This, combined with the lack of segregation of duties with Arthur Andersen, the external auditors also conducting internal audit purposes, lead to a complete failure in internal controls of the company. Lack of inquiries from the board of directors into how management were handling accounting procedures part of this case. The board were informed about possible misstatement of profits yet failed to take any action. Early action from the board of directors could have prevented this fraud in the early stages. The executives in the firm felt somewhat invincible as they felt too big to fail. The lack of competition for Freddie Mac meant they were stuck in their ways and failed to create a competitive work environment. There was also no rival firms to compare the expertise of executives against. Other failures include board of directors' failures to investigate management activity, failure to secure adequate information, and failure to upkeep accounting standards.
After the scandal, Freddie Mac paid a record-breaking $125 million fine. The Office of Federal Housing Enterprise Oversight released a report detailing what had happened and condemning the company for their fraudulent accounting practice. Leland Brenzel, Vaughn Clark, and David Glenn were fired for obstructing the criminal proceedings into the case. During the trial, the government showed that Brenzel received warnings from his staff as early as 1999 that the company's internal controls were failing. The SEC charged the executives with negligent conduct and agreed to settle the case without admitting or denying the allegations. A total of $790,548 were paid in settlements. The government said that most of the proceeds from the settlement were used to help keep at-risk borrowers in their home. Freddie Mac shares fell by 16%, wiping $6 billion of its market value.
In order to prevent this scandal, let's look at some actions Freddie Mac could have taken. They needed to define the role of the CEO and chairman of the board because Leland Brenzel could basically control what he told the board, and they did not have a clear view of what was going on. Also, they could have based incentives for employees on long-term instead of short-term objectives. This would have discouraged employees stealing. A compliance program should have been created that checks the internal controls and ensures that they complied with all regulatory requirements. Arguably, it was a culmination of failures which led to such systematic failure within Freddie Mac and such a large subsequent fine. Had one or two significant changes been in place before 2003, The whole scandal and media frenzy may well have been